In this video, you're going to learn 16 lessons, business lessons, to help you fast track and scale your business. Hi, I'm Paul Higgins, and so excited for you to be here. You can actually find out more because I did a podcast on this topic first. It's episode number 382 of the Accelerate Sales podcast. You can find it on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as they say now. You can find it on Spotify or wherever you listen. And you can also go and find it on my website at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast. So let's go into the 16. Number one is charge what you're worth. How often has someone quickly bought from you and you thought, you know what, maybe I wasn't charging enough? Or the alternative is that you start working on a project, you do all of the inputs, i.e. the cost, the time and effort, and you realize that you've actually lost money. And sometimes it's because you don't value your self-worth. And one thing I always remember is you've only got to be better than the person you're selling to on solving a problem. You don't have to be any better than that. So please charge what you're worth. Number two is sell the highest ticket item first. So often I used to think that I could sell in a door opener, right? Get something in and then I could upsell them. It's rare that that happens. Start a little project, then I'd upsell them. That doesn't work. Well, in my experience, it hasn't worked, and for a lot of the clients that I've mentored. So start with your highest ticket item. It's much easier to come down than what it is to go back up. The next is let go. So easy to say, hard to do. So just think about what are some of the things that you're doing at the moment that, the old saying, you could do them, but that doesn't mean you should do them. Even pause and stop for a moment of what are the things that you've done today that you shouldn't really be doing. So an example for me was podcasting. I used to do all of the show notes. I used to do all of the LinkedIn copy. I used to do all of that. Then I got Diana and the team, and it's just made a world of difference. I spend more time on client sales and marketing now because she does it now. I still approve it, right? But she does all the heavy lifting for me. So that's made a magnificent improvement on my business. But what about for you? What can you let go of today? The next is measure results. And I used to be so keen on getting new clients that I forgot to get results for the clients that I had. I didn't go deep enough into that. And what I do now in the proposal to keep me honest is I actually have qual and quantitative measures, and I review those every month with the client when I'm mentoring them. What I also do is if I'm doing projects, and I highly recommend this, that you do it as well, that you do a little weekly summary on the key results against the key measures. It can be a little video sent to them, but that keeps the client engaged, particularly if the client, maybe someone's buying the service that isn't involved in the implementation. It can keep them up to date because who knows, a team member may not be doing that internally. Don't leave it for chance. So far we've gone through what to sell or charge what you're worth. 2 is sell the highest ticket item first. 3, let go. Number 4 is measure results. So number 5 is ruthless on client qualification. I think you need to really niche down. That's what I've learned the hard way in doing business. And my grandfather, who was Irish, used to always say, and I won't say it in his accent, but he used to talk about don't get caught in muddy puddles, get clear in deep wells, right? And what he meant by that is that the best water is in that deep well. So what can you create? I've created the cloud consultants, which I haven't found too many other people helping people like that in the world, and therefore I'm very niched, right? People know, come to my website, come to my profile, they know exactly what I do. So what can you do? And once you do that, then be ruthless in qualifying people against the criteria. So I've got a list of 8 key attributes that I look for, and so often when I've taken shortcuts there, it's bit me in the butt. And the reason that it bites you in the butt is because you don't have great testimonials and you don't get good results. Therefore, they don't refer people. And also it's harder when someone says, hey, do you know someone like me? You can't do it. So please be ruthless in that client qualification. I'm sure you're thinking of someone at the moment, there might even be someone you're working with that you didn't get that right and it's caused you a lot of pain. And if you want that pain, just go back and work for someone, okay? And number 6 is 3 big decisions a quarter. So I learned this when I was buying billion-dollar companies for the Coke company. There was normally 3 key things that made a material difference to the P&L. So we used to look at all this, due diligence and all these things. And to be honest, a lot of it was just a waste of time, and it made some of the advisors a lot of money, but didn't really make a difference. So a quick example is when I was buying a dairy company in Australia, and I worked out that they had, premium label branded product. Now, if the retailers, like it happened in other parts of the world, released a private label, it could cut into that share, make a significant difference to their P&L. That played out. We didn't buy it, and we were proven right. And I must admit, recently I've made I follow this principle. I made a big decision to launch the community. It's called the Cloud Consultants Collective, and it's made a massive difference to my business. So, what are the 3 big decisions that you can make? Park all the tactical stuff. What are the 3 big decisions you can make? Number 7 is diagnose, then prescribe. So if you don't know me, I actually had a transplant. My friend of 30 years donated in 2019, very healthy. It was hugely successful. But so often a junior doctor would come in and just go straight to the prescription, whereas a specialist or a professor would come in and just ask so many questions. They do different tests and often come to a completely different outcome. And, are you doing that? Are you, because you're selling technology, it's so feature-based, are you sometimes just trying to put your solution in? And I know you get pressure from your vendor sometimes that they just want to close a deal, but make sure you're doing the right thing by the client, making sure you're diagnosing before you're prescribing. Number 8 is 90% of your sales calls should be spent on 2 things. One is the pain point they're experiencing at the moment, and the second is what does that actually mean to them personally, and how often have you gone in and sold the features, or you're actually not talking about them enough. And to be honest, Napoleon Hill once said that people think about themselves 3 things they think about, or 1 thing 3 times. It's morning, noon, and night they think about themselves, and that's it, right? And to be honest, you've got to really understand what that personal impact is, no matter what level someone is in the business. So far in the next 4, we covered ruthless on your client qualification, 3 big decisions, diagnose, then prescribe, and 90% of your time should be spent actually on the pain point and the personal impact. So number 9 is cash is critical. So many people have been caught out with COVID where their business just turned on a dime overnight and they didn't have cash. Always talk about 3 months. So 3 months of operating cash flow in your business bank at any time. 10 is progress, not perfection. I think at the Coke Company, we used to always get caught up on being perfect rather than progress, and that's what stopped some of the innovation. But in my own business, I've really tried to turn it on a dime. And a classic example is that community, the Cloud Consultants community that I created. I created it in 2 hours. I basically created the Slack group, which was free, quickly set that up because I used Slack before. And I also set up a landing page that I just copied from another product that we had, set it up, my team set it up, I wrote the copy, and away we went. And what I spent my time in is the network, is actually asking people if they knew people like this, and that's how we built over 60 members in the last 5 weeks by just doing that. So please, progress over perfection. So number 11 is get mentored by someone who's walked in your shoes. So I'll give you a classic example here. So just before I had my kidney failure and went on dialysis, 2016, I decided to take my family on an 8-week holiday because I didn't know what was going to happen, right? Was I going to survive it? Blah, blah, blah. And at that time, I was actually doing a lot of stuff face-to-face. So I said, hey, I want to create a community that's got recurring income that I can do from anywhere in the world. And I went to a guy called James Schramko from Superfast Business. He was an expert in that. That was his niche. He taught me how to set it up, did a brilliant job, and it just made such a huge difference while I was still working, earning income in the 8 weeks I was away, but also whilst I was on dialysis as well, which made a huge difference. And number 12 is listen and never go one-upmanship. And look, it might be one-personship. I don't know these days, but the short is, sometimes someone will tell you a story, a client will tell you a story, a prospective client tell you a story, and then you go back with your story, right? And it's sort of exchanging stories. No. Right, back to that Napoleon Hill, they only care about themselves morning, noon and night. Just make sure that you listen and you try to build on their experiences and actually build them up rather than trying to compare notes. So the next 4 was cash is critical, progress, not perfection, get mentored by someone who's walked in your shoes, and then listen and never go one-upmanship. So the last little one, so don't be first to email. So what do I mean by this? So how often have you, got distracted by your emails? It's natural, right? Or your LinkedIn or whatever social media you're on. So I did a program called 5 Choices for Extraordinary Results, I think it was. You'll find it on YouTube, but it was a Stephen Covey program. It's a Franklin Covey program done by Stephen Covey. And we had the top neurologists in the world, neuroscientists in the world, and they came in and basically said, look, the addiction to stimulus, i.e. lots of stimulus on your phone, your computer, blah, 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 is similar to smoking back in the days, right? It's more physically harmful. Smoking was, more mental harmful. Smoking was physical, but it's the greatest disease at the moment. It's distraction. So what I do, I have Chi shout out to you, Chi. She basically screens everything. So it's a bit like in the old days where someone would sort your mail and give you the most important thing. Why wouldn't we do that online? So don't be first to your email. 14 is time blocking, right? So you've probably heard of this before, the Pomodoro technique, other things. I do 30-minute block. So on my mobile phone, I just hit the timer, work on something for 30 minutes, one thing, turn everything else off. Then at the end, I record where I put it. I put it in Toggle, T-O-G-G-L. I just use a free program. But the most important thing at the end of the week, I look at where I've spent my total time. I want to spend 50% of time on sales. Am I doing that? Am I spending the right time on marketing and clients, the things that only I can do? And it supports number 3, which is let go, because you're really seeing where only you can add value rather than spending time in the wrong areas. And this time blocking for me has been great. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. You find the right time for you, but I have a stand-up desk, so I sit for 30, stand for 30. I'll go and do some stretches in between, etc., and it just makes a huge difference. So second last one is you should treat every person with respect regardless of what they do. And I think this is pretty obvious, right? But so often I found, especially in my corporate life, where the gatekeeper was sometimes so important to getting through. So a quick example, I looked after one of the largest retailers for Coca-Cola here in Australia, and it was very difficult to get appointments, right? But the people that were setting the appointments weren't the people that I'm having the appointment with, right? So what I used to do is get to know them, their families. And it was amazing how many times that I actually got a meeting versus other people. And I took them Christmas gifts, etc. It didn't take me much, but I respected everyone, because you never know who somebody knows, the benefit they're going to give you. So treat everyone exactly the same, especially on LinkedIn, right? Be curious when someone reaches out to you, and also, look at those gatekeepers that are going to help you get to the right people. So last but not least is 16, wait 4 seconds before talking. So we all know that listening is so important. You've got two ears, one mouth. You've heard all of that, right? But how about just when someone's talking, especially in a sales conversation, just make sure they're finished. So often I've cut people short, and then later on I found out that I could have got a critical element to help them be more successful. I had to just listened a bit longer. So I just wait 4 seconds. It feels like eternity. It might be 2 seconds for you, whatever. Just breathe a bit once they've finished, but that makes sure that they've completely finished before you start. So 13, we went, don't do your email first or any comms first, really. Time blocking, treat with respect, and the last one was wait 4 seconds before talking. So what I'd love you to do now is pause in a moment, and I want you to look at all of these, right? So you can just pause on this screen and look at how you rate out of 10 of those. So just go through each, mark it out of 10. Right? So that's the first thing I want you to do. Then what I want you to do is prioritize what your top 5 were that are below maybe the number 5, right? And you might only have 1 or 2 below 5. But 5 out of 10, if you've got those, then prioritize what are the most important for you. And then I want you to just do one of them, right? Go and implement just one of those. And then what I want you to do is actually send me an email at paul@paulhigginsmentoring.com to tell me exactly what you did. Right? And then what I will do is support you even more on that, because I've got lots of frameworks, a lot of tools that support this. So, I'm really here to help you. And if you want to put down in the comments below as well, just what you experienced, what you liked about this would be great. If you want to subscribe, that would also be fantastic. And if you know people that would get great value out of this video, why not share it with them? They'll think you're an absolute rock star for sharing it, but you're going to help them. So I'm Paul Higgins from Paul Higgins Mentoring. And it was fantastic that you took the time today to watch this video.